Hello, salam, shalom, sat sri akal, namaste, aloha. If you don't know me already, my name is Samia Bano. I'm your happiness expert and author of the book Make Change Fun and Easy. And the subtitle is How to Create Inner Peace to World Peace in 3 Simple Steps. So that's what I'm all about. I am committed to cultivating inner peace and happiness for myself and helping others to do the same, helping you to do the same. So I have made a decision that I am going to start doing, live broadcasts like at least once or twice a week. And I figured that, this topic is such a fabulous topic. It's like the one I love to talk about the most, but not everyone has the time and the inclination to actually read a book anymore. So, what I'm going to do is break it down into tiny pieces, like all the most important, amazing lessons that I share in the book. I need to share them during these live broadcasts. And I'll even go deeper than I went in the book because guess what? Since I wrote this book a few years ago, I have been continuing to learn and grow and become even wiser in the ways of how to make change fun and easy. Okay, so I thought today I would focus on one of the keys to make change fun and easy, and that is how to stay relaxed even in the face of adversity. Okay, all right. So you can imagine any kind of situation that's maybe really difficult for you to deal with in your life. That's what we're talking about when we say how to stay calm and relaxed in the face of adversity. This is something that's going to apply to any situation, okay, where you're feeling not calm and not relaxed and not happy and so forth. So there's a saying that I want to share with you. It's sort of like inspiring the content of our talk today. So this is actually a quote from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And in this quote, the Prophet Muhammad says, "Wondrous is the affair of the believer, for there is good for the believer in every matter. And this is not the case with anyone except the believer. If the believer is happy, then they thank God, and thus there is good in the situation for them. And if the believer is harmed, then the believer shows patience, and thus there is good in the situation for them." So this actually, the saying is actually very deep, and I could talk for an hour just elucidating the finer points, the depth of wisdom that's contained in this, but I'm not going to do that. My very first Facebook Live, which I did last week, it went on for an hour. My first one, okay? So I was like, uh, I didn't want to psych myself out by being worried about time limits and so forth. But my goal this time is to be just a few minutes in length. Okay, so let me quickly read through the saying again, and then I will elucidate only one part of it today, and then we will do the rest of it in future podcasts. All right, sound good? Okay. So the saying is, "Wondrous is the affair of the believer, for there is good for the believer in every matter. And this is not the case with anyone except the believer. If the believer is happy, then they thank Allah, and there is does good in the situation for them. And if the believer is harmed, then they show patience, and thus there is good in the situation for them. Okay. So, the part that I really want to focus on today as the first key for us to talk about is the idea that in every matter, there is good for the believer. But you know what? We'll get more into, well, believer of what? Believer of who? What? We'll get into that later. But for right now, just notice that this saying is encouraging us to take on a perspective that says, you know what, no matter what the circumstances, there's good in it for me, right? And think about how key that is, how key that kind of a perspective is if you are going to be able to stay calm and relaxed in the face of adversity. I mean, if you think a situation is bad, if a situation is difficult, if you think it's stressful, then of course you're going to feel stressed. You're going to feel bad. You're not going to be able to be calm and relaxed in that situation because it's bad, because it's stressful, right? So you have to change your perspective on the situation. You have to actually let go of your judgment of the situation being bad. Actually, that's the key. So you have to learn to let go of your judgments of whatever the circumstance you may be in. Stop judging them. Stop judging those circumstances as good or bad. Don't even judge it as good, really. Although, because if you allow yourself to judge things at all in terms of good and bad, there will be times you'll judge things to be good, situations to be good, but then there will be other times when you will judge that circumstances or those situations are bad. So really, the goal is to stop that kind of judgmental thinking. And I'll give you an analogy. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm your happiness expert. So my primary focus in my work is actually to start by helping people cultivate inner peace. Because until you have inner peace, you really can't effectively begin to cultivate and create world peace. Okay, so when we're talking about cultivating inner peace, think about what disturbs your inner peace. I'll tell you, for me, one of the things that really disturbed my inner peace was how I judged myself. I blamed myself, I shamed myself. And, I've shared, if you know me, I've shared in the past that I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. So I actually had a very, very intense challenge when it came to how much I blamed and shamed myself. It caused a lot of suffering and magnified my trauma fold, because even before I told anyone, like for so many years, I didn't even tell anyone about having experienced like abuse, because I was too afraid that if I told people that I was, abused, that they would actually blame me and say it was my fault. And why did I think that? Because I thought that about me. I thought it was my fault that I got abused, because I did not, take enough action to stop the abuse from happening, or that I did something to attract attention to myself so that the person was tempted to abuse me or whatever, these crazy thoughts of blame and judgment that I had. So, I know that when it came to my relationship with myself, my tendency to blame and judge myself was a huge obstacle in my path to being able to have a loving relationship with myself. Now, think about interpersonal relationships, right? Because if I want to live with inner peace, it's like I can't exist in a bubble. I don't exist in a bubble, do I? No. So the relationships that I have with other people in my life, if they're not healthy, if they're not happy, then I also, cannot be healthy and happy and peaceful in my life as a whole. So it's very important that I have healthy, happy relationships. But guess what? When we are striving to have healthy, happy relationships uh, in our life, if we the extent, I would say, the extent to which we blame and judge and shame the other people in our lives, that's the extent to which our relationships are not peaceful and happy. True or true, right? I mean, it's like, how can you be feeling peaceful and happy in the company of someone that you think is bad, doing bad things? If you're judging them, if you're criticizing them, shaming them, blaming them, etc. So when you are judging other people, then your relationships with other people can't be happy. And turns out, what this saying of the Prophet Muhammad is cluing us in on is that if you want to have a more healthy relationship with the circumstances of your life, with the results that emerge in your life, then you need to let go of your judgments of those circumstances and results also. So just as, in order to have a more healthy relationship with myself or with other people, I need to, instead of blame and judgment and shame, I need to cultivate empathy and compassion, right? So in this case, when I want to improve my relationship with my circumstances, my mindset around my circumstances, well, what do I cultivate instead of blame and shame and judgment? Well, the saying gives us those clues, right? Talks about gratitude and patience. So, well, yes, okay, so we'll talk about those keys of practicing gratitude and patience in the face of adversity next time. But for today, just get this in your mind. Just really hone in on this idea that you need to stop judging the circumstances of your life as good or bad. So whatever the circumstance you are in, if your purpose, if your goal is to create as much peace and happiness for yourself and others around you, then you have to stop judging that situation as bad. Okay. And so there is another saying that I want to share with you. And this is a quote, I believe, by John Adams. So John Adams says that every problem is an opportunity in disguise. Every problem is an opportunity in disguise, right? So this gives you a way of, like, how do I stop judging situations as bad, circumstances as bad? Well, think about how every problem is an opportunity in disguise. What's that hidden opportunity in your current circumstances that are bothering you? And so when you begin to shift your mindset and think about that opportunity, about the good that is there in that situation for you, or that you can create in that situation for you, that is when you'll be able to get to that place of feeling more calm and relaxed, right? Because guess what? If this is not a bad situation, it's just an opportunity, right? It's just an opportunity to create some positive change. Then why would you be freaking out? Why would you be worried, right? You have no reason left to feel stressed and so forth. So, this is the first key to maintaining your calm and relaxed way of feeling and being, even in the face of adversity. Okay, I actually noticed that we have some people who are live watching. Wait, let me see. Can I figure out who is watching? If you have any comments or questions, I would love to interact and respond. Let's see, but how do I actually do this? I'm very new to Facebook Live and YouTube Live and all these things. So please bear with me for a moment while I try to figure out. Oh, someone, the Sneem, Noor, just made the comment, learn to let go of my judgments. And somebody liked that comment who was watching. Oh, cool. Yay. Okay, yes. Learn to let go of your judgments. In this case, the judgments about the situations that you're in, the circumstances you're in being good or bad. And yes, Disney, I see you're saying hi and smiley face. Yay, woohoo. Thank you for joining me. So, yep. Any questions? Any comments? Any other comments or questions? If not, we will begin to wrap up for today. Okay, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, I'm going to assume that we're good for now. So if you do have any questions or comments that come up for you after I finish officially this broadcast for right now, please feel free to send me a direct message or leave a comment under the video that you will see on the profile after we're done here. So I'm happy to continue engaging on this after. All right? Okay, yay. Oh, and to end as I started, Salam, Shalom, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, Aloha.